Oh, if you could see me in the light, that'd be great. I'm gonna fix that for a second. There's a big sun glare right here. Can you see me all right? Can you see me all right? Okay, it looks like it's good. Well, this is Lucas McFarlane. Had to do the podcast today at 4 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. because I got a big test tomorrow. Got to work tonight. Might try to sleep a little bit after the game. And there's also a game three of the Red Sox and Astros at 5:09 today, so I kind of want to watch that a little bit. I might fall asleep for another hour or two. I got about a good 7 hours of sleep. I need another one tonight. We'll talk more NBA in a second. I don't normally get into the previews of it. I should learn more about it. I'm just gonna follow the schedule as it goes along. But we got the first NBA game tonight between. I'm surprised this early too. It's the 76ers and the Celtics at 8 on TNT. Gordon Hayward's back. Kyrie Irving. Look out for Boston. I think they might be the favorite winner. Boston, Philly might be the winner of the Eastern Conference. Also tonight 10:30 by Oklahoma City at Golden State. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, they play again, so that's a good one. We got DeMarcus Cousins debut for the Warriors. We'll get more into the NBA matchups this week coming up in the NHL matchups. I want to talk some NFL real quick. Big games yesterday. Can you see me in the light, by the way? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to block that. Looks like I found a better way to block that with my pillow. We talk about the oh, whoops. The 2-3 Eagles at the 1-4 Giants. They played on Thursday night. As Carson Wentz had a 3-touchdown game, they look better against the Giants than they have all season, I think. Philadelphia looked great. Giants, they look awful. Eagles are now 3-3. The Giants are 1-5. Eagles won 34-13. Barkley, Giants, he's the only offense. I think he had 9 receptions, 99 yards. He had 13 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. And Eli Manning does not look good at all. I think Odell was having tempers. I think Sterling Shepard the last week had a temper. As the Giants go 1-5, the Giants are in a hole. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. They don't look really good. They need to look for a quarterback for the future. I don't think Eli Manning's the guy right now for the Giants, and they don't have any backup option. They should have drafted a quarterback, I think, this year instead of Eli Manning, just to train him for next year. But the Eagles won that one 34-13. 2-2 Tampa Bay played at 1-4 Atlanta. Jameis Winston made his first start back from a 3-game suspension. Played a little bit in the Week 4 game. They had a bye. They were down big early. Winston had 4 touchdowns against the Atlanta defense, by the way. Julio Jones was a standout. He had 10 receptions, 143 yards. Jameis Winston was another standout. He was 30 of 41 for 95 yards and 4 touchdowns. And everybody, Sanu, except for Julio Jones, had touchdowns. Sanu, Hooper, they had touchdown passes. Atlanta won 34-29. They had a lead, and they almost blew it in the fourth quarter. Tampa Bay was down there. Tried a wild play. They were this close to beating Atlanta. Tampa Bay's now 2-3. Atlanta's now 2-4. Pittsburgh was 2-2 at the 4-1 Cincinnati Bengals. AFC North leading Bengals. And Pittsburgh won 28-21. James Conner had a 2-touchdown game. 19 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Juju Smith-Schuster had 7 receptions, 111 yards. Big Antonio Brown had a touchdown too. Big Ben was 32 of 46, 369 yards, and 1 touchdown. They were down 21-20 with I think 15 seconds left. Then Big Ben threw a screen to Antonio Brown. Brown did the rest. That's why he's one of the best receivers in the league. Pittsburgh won 28-21 at Cincinnati. Big Ben's I think is now 14-2, 15-2 now on the road at Cincinnati, all time and on the road as Pittsburgh's 3-2-1, Cincinnati's 4-2, and Pittsburgh's right back in the AFC North race. We'll go over the standings in a second. Chargers are coming out of nowhere to be a sneak team, I think. The Chargers are won 38-14 over the Browns. They were 3-2 going into the game. The Browns are 2-1 going into the game. Phillip Rivers, 2 touchdown passes. Tyree Williams, he was throwing the ball all over the place, I think. They dominated that game. Melvin Gordon had a big game, I think, for the Chargers. He had 18 carries, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyrell Williams is a guy to look out for. Maybe get him in a fantasy team. 3 receptions, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chargers won 38-14. They're looking like a sneaky wildcard team. We'll get into their matchups next week. The team that looks awful, one of the worst teams that I saw last week, especially in the AFC. You could compare to Colts too, but Oakland looked awful last week. They played in London, 2-3 Seattle at 1-4 Oakland. Russell Wilson had a great game. He was 17-23, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns. Doug Baldwin had 6 receptions, 91 yards. Derek Carr got hurt. He looked like he was crying, I think, after the game. Everybody got injured. They lost 27-3 to Oakland. Oakland had no offense. They had a bunch of weapons. There's rumors of Amari Cooper being traded, but he got hurt with a helmet-to-helmet concussion. Oakland has a lot of work to do going into the bye with John Gruden. It's a rebuilding year, I think, for Oakland. This game was maybe the surprise of the week. 2-2 Chicago. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, 2-2 Chicago is actually 3-1 Chicago is at 3-2 Miami. As I was at first, it was a surprise that people thought Tannehill was. I don't know if he was going to play with the shoulder injury. They didn't play him. Brock Osweiler started instead. I was like, the Bears might feast on him. Brock Osweiler had a pretty good game. He was 28-44, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns. Frank Gore had a big game too. He had 15 carries, 101 yards. And Albert Wilson for Miami, great game for him too. It was like the backup team, like the replacements for the movie. Miami has a bunch of old guys that they can play football like the replacements, the movie with Keanu Reeves. Albert Wilson had 6 receptions, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Kenyon Drake, in overtime, was 28-all, I think. Going into that game, it was 21-10 lead. Chicago, Miami came back. It was 28-all. At first, Kenyon Drake fumbled at the 1. Miami got all the way down there, fumbled. Chicago went all the way down the other field, missed a field goal, so Miami had one more chance. They go down there with, I think, with 5 seconds left in the game, kick a field goal for Sanders, and Miami wins 31-28 over the Bears in overtime with a great upset win. The Dolphins saved their season. They looked bad the last 2 weeks. We'll see. Ryan Tannehill will probably come back. I think they're playing the Lions this week. We'll get into that matchup next week. Excuse me, a little bit of allergies today, but I'll be all right. 1-4 Arizona went to 2-2-1 Minnesota today. Latavius Murray for the Vikings. He had a great game. So did Thielen again. We'll talk about Thielen in a second. 24 carries, 155 yards, and a touchdown for Latavius Murray. Adam Thielen should be right now top 2 MVP discussion. He had 11 receptions, 123 yards, and 1 touchdown. In all their games this year for Minnesota, Adam Thielen, man, he has 100 yards in every game he's played in. He should be in an MVP discussion right now, about 700 right now through 7 games. Adam Thielen's the best receiver in the league that nobody's talking about. He should be up there, top 2, maybe top 2 players in the league. Top 2 in my book. Mahomes is there, but he threw 2 interceptions. I think Thielen should be at the top right now. He's doing great things. Wide receivers aren't normally in discussions for MVP candidates, but I think Thielen's my top guy right now. He's playing great. And Arizona moved to 1-5. Minnesota's now 3-2-1. I heard rumors of them trying to ship Patrick Peterson around. Colts were 1-4 at the 2-3 Jets. Sam Darnold had a big game. Jason Myers had 7 field goals. If you're looking for a kicker in fantasy, Jason Myers had 7 field goals against the Colts. Darnold had a great game. So did, oh my goodness, the Jets had a bunch of offense. Jermaine Kearse had 9 receptions, 94 yards. Luck, I'm worried about the Indy. They always played from behind. Luck had 4 touchdowns. Big performance, 23-43, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns. They keep playing from behind. That's not good in the NFL. That's why they're terrible. Luck keeps throwing turnovers. They're not a good offense. They keep having turnovers. The defense is awful. Indy needs must-wins the next few weeks, but the Jets look great. They're 3-3 now. Colts are 1-5. Jets have won 2 in a row for the first time in over 2 years, I think. But the Jets look better, I think, than the Bills. We'll get into them in a second. Carolina was 3-1 at 2-2 Washington. Washington's one of those teams that plays up and down every week, and this week they played great. Norman had an interception off Newton. Norman got benched last week on the Monday night one. Had some beef with Michael Thomas, but he did great. He was a standout, I think, for Washington. Adrian Peterson, too. 17 carries, 97 yards, no touchdowns. Was the standout there for Washington as they won 23-17. They're both 3-2 now. Redskins are leading the NFC East right now, barely. No one's talking about that, but they're up and down every week. Bills-Texans, this game was a good one. With a Carl Joseph pick-6 return. Late in the fourth quarter, Josh Allen got banged up for the Bills. That's not good for Buffalo. All they got is Nathan Peterman and Derek Anderson, I think, the next few weeks. The Texans, Deshaun Watson, he was 15-25, 177 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins had 5 receptions, 63 yards and a touchdown. Yesterday, Jonathan Joseph, 28-yard interception return with 1:28 to go. Both teams were 2-3 going into the game. And Houston's won 3 in a row now. They were my Super Bowl pick earlier in the season. Now they're winning games. I feel like they're the best team in the AFC South at the moment. Houston's 3-3. Buffalo is 2-4. That was the end for the 1 o'clock games. Earlier, it snowed in Denver for the Rams and Broncos game. The Rams are now the only undefeated team in football. They were 5-0. Broncos are 2-3. Going into the game, Rams won 23-20. They're now 6-0. Broncos have lost 4 in a row. They're 2-4. They got quarterback questions. But Case Keenum was 25-41, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. They still have quarterback questions, though. Todd Gurley had 28 carries. He had 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the best running back, I think, right now in the NFL as well. Todd Gurley should be up in the top 3 for MVP candidates. At least maybe ahead of right there with Mahomes. I think Thielen, Mahomes, and Todd Gurley are my top 3 MVP candidates at the moment right now. They've been playing ball every week. And the Rams are now 6-0. Denver's 2-4. This was a big surprise for me this week. 3-2 Jacksonville was at 2-3 Dallas. Dallas finally looked like they had offense. Dak Prescott was under a lot of pressure. McGregor showed up there, tried to give him a rallying speech. Everybody's doing the shuffle. Dallas is now 3-3. Jacksonville's 3-3. Jalen Ramsey was quiet after he did not roasted every quarterback in the league, and they get blown out. Dallas won 40-7 over Jacksonville. Dak Prescott, 17-27, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zeke Elliott had 24 carries, 106 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Cole Beasley had 9 receptions, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game. And the AFC South looks bad. Both 3-2 teams coming off tough losses. Baltimore at Tennessee. Baltimore shuts out Tennessee 21-0. Alex Collins had 19 yards, 54 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Flacco was 25-37, 238 yards, 1 touchdown. Michael Crabtree had 6 receptions, 93 yards, and 1 touchdown. As Baltimore shuts out Tennessee, the last 2 weeks after beating Jacksonville and Philly have lost to Buffalo and Baltimore. Baltimore's won 21-0. They're tied with Cincinnati for the AFC North lead now, but it's their defense the last few weeks. They haven't allowed a touchdown. They've gotten after Baker Mayfield and Marcus Mariota. They sacked Mariota 11 times, got him out of the pocket, and they won 21-0. They are 4-2 now, 3-3. This was the game of the week, I think. 5-0 Kansas City was at 3-2 New England. Patriots won 43-40. Mahomes had a great day. So did Brady. Brady got his 500 touchdown. Mahomes was 23-36, 352 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had 7 receptions, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Sonny Michel for New England. I think New England might have found a running back here. He had 24 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And this game was good. I think it was 17-6, 24-6 early, but Kansas City came back. It was 40-33. You don't leave Tyreek Hill wide open. They left him wide open. It tied it at 40-40. Oh, man. Yeah, and then New England got all the way down the field, kicked a field goal. It was 43-40. New England won 4, and they're 4-2 now. Gronk had big plays, and Kansas City's now 5-1. This game was a good one last night, too. San Fran had a 30-23 lead in the fourth quarter. Mason Crosby redeemed himself. He had 2 field goals in the game. San Fran was 1-4 going into it. Green Bay was 2-1 going into it. And Green Bay won 33-30 with a Crosby game-winning field goal. Green Bay's 3-1, and San Fran was 1-5. Aaron Rodgers was 25-46. He got pressured a lot. He had 425 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Devontae Adams had 10 receptions, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. They didn't win without Randall Cobb, but Green Bay's got a lot of work to do. They won't struggle against a C.J. Beathard like San Fran team. Marquise Goodwin had 2 touchdown passes as well, or 2 receptions as well for San Francisco. And the bye weeks for the Lions and the Saints. Excuse me. I want to go over the standings real quick, each division-wise, and what the wild card standings look like at the moment. If I can get the playoff standings as well, I'm just double-checking real quick. Oh, yeah, I got that. The AFC East, Patriots are 4-2, and the Dolphins are 4-2. Patriots on the head-to-head. Jets are third place at 3-3, and the Bills are 2-4. Bengals are 4-2. Ravens are 4-2. Steelers are 3-2-1. Bengals on the head-to-head for the AFC North, and the Browns are 2-3-1. The AFC South, the Titans, Texans, and Jags are all 3-3, and the Colts are 1-5 and last. In the AFC West, the Chiefs are 5-1, Chargers are 4-2, Broncos are 2-4, Raiders are 1-5. NFC East, Redskins are winning it; they're 3-2. Cowboys are 3-3, Eagles are 3-3, Giants are 1-5. In the NFC North, the Bears are 3-2, but the Packers and Vikings are 3-2-1. That tie is going to screw the NFC North, I think. The Lions are 2-3 as well. NFC South, the Saints are 4-1, Panthers are 3-2, Bucks are 2-3, Falcons are 2-4. The NFC West, the Rams are 6-0, the Seahawks are 3-3, and the Cardinals and Niners are both 1-5 each. The wild card standings, we're into about week 7 here. I just wanted to talk about that real quick. Oh, heard a phone call. Yep. Sorry, it's my phone. And this is the wild card standings right now for the playoffs. If the playoffs start today, this is how it would go. The 1 seed would be the Chiefs. They're 5-1. The Patriots are the 2 seed at 4-2, and the Bengals are 3 at 4-2, And the Titans and the Chargers. Titans would be the 4 seed. They're 3-3. The Chargers and Ravens are the wild card teams at 4-2, 4-2 each. Miami's 4-2 right outside of it. Pittsburgh's 3-2-1 right outside of it. And 9-10. Houston, Jacksonville, and the Jets are all 3-3 right outside of the wild card hunt. And the NFC wild card, NFC playoff picture, the Rams are 6-0. The Saints are the 2 seed at 4-1. The Redskins are 3-2. The Bears would be 3-2. And the 5 seed and the 6 seed, the Panthers are 3-2. And the tie for right there, the Packers are 3-2-1. The Vikings are 3-2-1. Eagles and Seahawks and Cowboys and right outside of it at 8-10 at 3-3. We'll go over the NFL matchups next week. Here's some good ones that I was looking at for week 7. First, I wanted to say the bye weeks. For week 7, Denver's at Arizona. I think, this week. 2 disappointing teams, 2-4. Denver's at 1-5. Arizona Thursday night. I think Arizona is a good favorite. It's going to be a low scoring game. I think Rosen's going to get his second win, first home win in front of the fans. Denver's defense doesn't look good. They can't stop the run. I think they hand off to David Johnson. We haven't talked about. He might have a breakout game. I like Arizona in that matchup. This is a London one at 9:30. This is a good game because this would be a playoff game if they played today. Tennessee's 3-3 at 4-2 LA Chargers. The Chargers are on a roll. Tennessee's slumping right now. I don't like Tennessee in this matchup to stop anybody at all for the Chargers, my bad, the LA Chargers now. I like the Chargers to beat the Titans in this matchup by throwing the ball a lot. Good matchup at 1 o'clock. New England's 4-2 at 3-2 Chicago. Chicago, no one's won there yet, but I think Brady will figure out a way to slow down Mac. They'll probably double team him and slow down all those receivers and give Trubisky a lot of trouble. I like the Patriots to beat the Bears in this matchup in Chicago. Maybe a low-scoring game, but I like it. It's a tough place to play. Though, but I like New England. They'll figure out a way to slow down Mac. I mean, Brock Osweiler did. 1 o'clock also. Looking like Josh Allen won't play for a while. Nathan Peterman might start. 2-4 Buffalo is at 1-5. I think Indianapolis is actually going to get a win here. I think they'll beat Buffalo. It's going to be a closer game. Then they'll pull away late. Indy will redeem themselves. They need to win this one in order to save their season. So does Buffalo. It's a winner-take-all game. They're both going to be 2-5. This one's a good one. 2-3 Detroit's at 4-2 Miami. I don't know if Tannehill's going to play this week. I like the Dolphins here to beat the Lions. I think this one's going to be a shootout. I think Miami's going to pull away late, and they'll beat Detroit in this one. This one's an underrated matchup. The Vikings are 3-2-1 at 3-3 New York. I like the Vikings close matchup. I think they slow down Sam Darnold, and the Jets are going to give them some interesting looks on defense. I like Minnesota in this matchup. Carolina's 3-2 at 3-3 Philly. I like Philly to bounce back, beat Carolina. This game's going to be low scoring, give Cam Newton a bunch of fits. But I think Philly beats Carolina right there. Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston are starting against each other. 2-3-1 Cleveland is at 2-3 Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay to bounce back. End their 3-game losing streak. Can be a shootout, I think. I like Tampa Bay to beat Cleveland in that matchup. This one's a good one. I think the winner of this one might win the AFC South. The way Jacksonville's been playing the last few weeks, I don't like them. And Houston's 3-3. But I like Jacksonville in a close one. I think they'll win by a field goal. They're back home. They play a lot better at home. I think Houston's going to end their... It's going to be close. They'll have a lead, and Jacksonville will figure out a way to win with their defense. They'll be back. They'll be pissed. But I like Jacksonville. I think there's only 7 1 o'clock games. Not a lot, but a few teams on the bye. We'll get into that in a second. This game's my game of the week that nobody's talking about. 4-1 New Orleans travels to 4-2 Baltimore. Drew Brees is 1 touchdown away from 500 touchdowns. And Baltimore's defense, they've been playing well the last 2 weeks. Haven't allowed a single touchdown. I can't wait to see New Orleans' offense against Baltimore's defense. See what pressure they're going to give on Drew Brees. And I think Baltimore is going to beat New Orleans. Baltimore's a tough place to play. They'll slow down Kamara and Ingram, trying to make Brees throw a lot. I mean, Brees might make mistakes. I know he's been playing great. I like Baltimore's defense here. Flacco and Brees have been playing great this year. I like Baltimore. This game was supposed to play Sunday night, but Garoppolo got hurt. Now it's at 4:25. The 6-0 Rams are at the 1-5 Niners. Yeah, you heard me right. The Niners are favored by 1.5 right now. 1.5. But I like the Rams to dominate the 49ers. I think they'll blow them out and go 7-0. I don't know why San Francisco is favored in this game. This game is for the NFC East lead. 3-3 Dallas is at 3-2 Washington. I'm following a trend here. Dallas plays horribly on the road. Washington's always up and down every week. But I think Washington will win a close one against Dallas. That's going to be a wild game at 425. I like Washington to go 4-2. Sunday night, this moved from 1 to 820. 4-2 Cincinnati's at 5-1 Kansas City. I think this game's going to be a great shootout game, but I think Kansas City pulls away late, and the Chiefs are going to go 6-1. I like the Chiefs. I think they'll have a bounce back win. They got a great offense. Mahomes has 18 touchdowns this season. It's going to be a great game. Two disappointing teams that need a must win to save their season. 1-5 New York Giants are at the 2-4 Atlanta Falcons. I like the Falcons in this matchup. I don't like the Giants. I think that they bury them. And the bye weeks, Packers, Raiders, Steelers, and Seahawks. 4 teams on the bye this week. And Devontae Freeman's out for the year for Atlanta. That's a breaking story. So Atlanta might not have a great running game. The college football games last week, oh boy, they were wild. I think a lot of top 10 teams went down. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm losing breath here. I'm going to go over all the games that happened last week, all of them. There was a Tuesday matchup. Go over the records, I think. Go over the conference ones. Uh-oh, my nose is getting all stuffy. Hopefully we'll survive it. There we go, I gotta breathe. Appalachian State beat Arkansas State. I can't breathe right now. Appalachian State is 4-1, and now Arkansas State's 3-3. Appalachian State won 35-9. Their quarterback had a 62-yard touchdown run. Appalachian State's Evans for the running back at 16 carries, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown was a standout in that game. Thursday games. Georgia Southern's 5-1 now. Texas State's 1-5. Georgia Southern won 15-13 over Texas State. Their running back Wesley Fields, he's a good running back. 26 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Texas Tech, both in TCU, they're both 3-2 going into the game. Texas Tech won 17-14. Sean Robinson. Oh wait. Yeah. He threw a late interception that gave Texas Tech to win. Jeff Duffy had 16 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. As Texas Tech went 4-2, TCU is now 3-3. Disappointing year for them. Friday matchup, our first ranked matchup. 23rd ranked South Florida went down to the wire. They had to beat Tulsa. They're now 6-0. Tulsa's 1-5. They're 5-0 going into it. Tulsa was 1-4. South Florida won 25-24. Jordan Crockett of the running back for South Florida, 25 carries, 151 yards, and a touchdown. The South Florida won on a last-second field goal against Tulsa. They're 23rd ranked. 2-3 Air Force traveled to 4-1 San Diego State. San Diego State a 29-yard late touchdown. They won 21-17 over Air Force. San Diego State was 5-1. Air Force was 2-4. Utah dominated Arizona. They were 3-2 going into the game. Arizona was 3-3. Utah won 42-10 as Zach Moss of Utah had 15 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Utah started out 4-2. Arizona is now 3-4 overall. The Saturday one, so we'll look at all the top 10 one. Taylor Tagovailoa got banged up, but he still kept playing. Bama was 6-0 going into the matchup. Missouri was 3-2. Bama won 39-10, first ranked over Missouri. Tagovailoa was 12-22, 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's an Heisman candidate at the moment. Alabama's now 7-0. Missouri's 3-3. Our first top 2 team goes down this year. 6-0 Georgia was second ranked going into the matchup at 5-1, 13th ranked LSU. They were coming off a loss to Florida. LSU won 36-16. As a standout here was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, of LSU. He was at 19 carries, 145 yards. And Justin Jefferson, the wide receivers nobody talks about, had 6 receptions and 108 yards. Joe Burrow had 200 yards and 2 short touchdown runs. As LSU, they play well against ranked teams. This is their 3rd win against the top 10 team. They should be in the hunt. That Bama game just got a whole lot interesting now. As LSU is 13th, they just beat Georgia. Big game. Ohio State struggled in this matchup. 3-2 Minnesota was at 6-0, 3rd ranked Ohio State. Ohio State was down 14-10 early. They won 30-14, wound up winning eventually. Dwayne Haskins was 33-44, 412 yards and 3 touchdowns as Ohio State beat Minnesota to keep their winning streak alive. They're 7-0 to start off the season. Notre Dame was down 14-12 early late in the 4th quarter until Ian Book had a late touchdown pass to seal Notre Dame's win 19-14. They were 6-0 going into it. Pittsburgh was 3-3. Now Pittsburgh's 3-4. Notre Dame's 7-0. As 5th ranked Notre Dame continues to win, they're 7-0 as well. Ian Book was 26-32, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is where it gets wild. 6 through 8 all lost. West Virginia was 5-0 going into their matchup with 2-3 Iowa State. So Iowa State beat West Virginia 30-14. Brock Purdy of Iowa State, 18-25, 254 yards and 3 touchdowns was the standout in that one. Will Grier got slowed down a lot. This derails his Heisman race, I think. I don't know why West Virginia's that high ranked. I didn't think they were that good. But in this game proves it. West Virginia's now 5-1 and Iowa State's 3-3 now overall. This was a ranked matchup too. And it went to overtime. 7th ranked Washington was a 5-1 going in their matchup at 4-1 Oregon. As Washington had a chance to kick a field goal at the last second, they miss it. And then in overtime, Oregon walk-off touchdown. They won 30-27. C.J. Vernell had 29 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Dylan Mitchell had 8 receptions, 119 yards, and 1 touchdown for Oregon. As they moved to 5-1, Washington's now 5-2. 17th ranked Oregon, they should make a big jump again. 7th ranked Washington, this kills the Pac-12 chances at the top 4. The winner of the Pac-12 is going to go to the Rose Bowl. Right now, my front runner could be Oregon. Maybe even Washington too, but Oregon's my front runner maybe for the Rose Bowl. MSU was 3-2. Come off at this point, lost to Northwestern. They were at 4-1, 8th ranked Penn State. They were coming off a bye and a loss to Ohio State. But Werke had a 25-yard touchdown to Felton Davis late. MSU won 21-17. The Werke 24-52, 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. Felton Davis had 8 receptions, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. The MSU moves to 4-2, and Penn State's now 4-2 as well. Texas is leading the Big 12 again, but they struggled. Their quarterback had a hand injury. Texas was 5-1 going into the game. Baylor was 4-2 going into the game. Texas won 23-17 late in the game. Baylor was in it the whole game. Colin Johnson had 11 receptions, 132 yards, and 1 touchdown. Texas sealed a big close win against Baylor, 23-17. They're 6-1. They're bowl eligible again. Baylor's 4-3. They're going to move up. Texas leading the Big 12 right now. We'll get into the standings later. Central Florida, 10th ranked. They were 5-0 at 4-2 Memphis. They were down 30-17 late in the game at halftime. Then they shut out Memphis the whole second half. 2 late touchdowns. Central Florida 130-130. Mackenzie Milton, still a Heisman front runner. 17-29, 296 yards and 1 touchdown. Dale Henderson had 31 carries, 199 yards and 1 touchdown. Gabriel Davis of Central Florida, 6 receptions, 128 yards and 1 touchdown. Milton had a rush touchdown, and elite too. Central Florida is now 6-0. Memphis is 4-3. They won 31-30. They're 10th ranked. They're gonna move up. The big one this week was 15th ranked Wisconsin, 4-1 going into the game, and 5-1 Michigan going into the game. Michigan dominated Wisconsin 38-13. Finally, they get a big win against a ranked team. Shea Patterson was 14-21, 124 yards, no touchdowns. But that Hilgen guy had 19 carries, 105 yards, and 1 touchdown. Michigan started off 6-1. Wisconsin's now 4-2. As Michigan move up big, they'll be maybe in the top 6 or top 5. I haven't looked at the rankings yet. Michigan won 38-13. Tempers flared in this game. 14th ranked Florida was at Vanderbilt, 5-1, 3-3 going into the game. Vanderbilt was up 21-3 until it was 21-13 at the half, but there was a late hit call. Dan Mullen and Derek Mason got after it, almost a bench-clearing brawl for Florida and Vanderbilt, but Florida came back and won 37-27. Lamike Perrine of Florida had 23 carries, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown. Perrine of the Florida had 4 receptions, 93 yards, and Felipe Franks was 19-29, 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Florida moves to 6-1, Vanderbilt's now 3-4. Another unranked team losing this week. Miami's championship chances, or maybe playoff chances, go down. They were 5-1 going into the game, and Virginia was 3-2 going into the game. Virginia won 16-13 over Miami, which was a big upset when late field goal for them. And Virginia won. They're 4-2 now. Miami's 5-2. Good for Bronco Mendenhall. They've been bad since he's been there. Now Virginia has a chance maybe get a bowl game. Another unranked team that lost. 5-0 Colorado was 19th ranked at also 3-2 USC. USC won 31-20. Pick 6 helped them too. JT Daniels was 18-35, 283 yards and 3 touchdowns. Michael Pittman Jr. of USC, 6 receptions, 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. A few more ranked matchups. Big surprise here. Tennessee hasn't won an SC road game in 2 years. They're 2-3 going into the game. Auburn's 4-2. Auburn doesn't look good at all. They go into Auburn. Jordan Hare, 21st ranked, Tennessee wins 30-24 to Jarek Geronimo was 21-32, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tennessee had a big sealer win and they beat Auburn 30-24. Good for Tennessee. They're 3-3 now. Auburn's 4-3. 22nd ranked A&M was 4-2 going into their game at 3-2 South Carolina. Tavon Williams had a late touchdown. He was 19 carries, 78 yards. A&M won 26-23. Kellen Mond was 25-37, 353 yards and 1 touchdown. Jay Sturberger of A&M, 7 receptions, 145 yards and a touchdown. As A&M moves to 5-2, South Carolina is now 3-3. Now the unranked matchups. Rutgers only completed 2 passes for 80 yards. They were 1-5 at 3-2 Maryland. Ty Johnson had a big game. He had 9 carries, 23 yards and a touchdown. Kasem Hill of Maryland, it was 8 of 17 only, 76 yards with 3 touchdown passes. As Maryland moves to 4-2, Rutgers now 1-6. Maryland's 34-7. 4-1 Iowa was at 4-2 IU. Iowa pulled away late. Iowa won 42-16. Nate Stanley's a guy to look out for. He's 21-33. They should be ranked now. 320 yards and 6 touchdowns overall. As they move to 5-1, IU's 4-3. Nebraska, Northwestern. Nebraska had a chance to win the field goal. I think Northwestern had a game-winning field goal because Nebraska threw an interception late in overtime. Nebraska was 0-5 going into their game. Northwestern was coming off a big win at MSU. They were 2-3. Northwestern won 34-31 in overtime. Clayton Thorson was 41-64. Yes, 64. 455 yards and 3 touchdowns. Abingo, Nebraska was a standout. 22 carries, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Flint Nagel, Northwestern, 12 receptions, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Northwestern moves to 3-3, and Nebraska is now 0-6. They have 4 games left. They might go winless, I think. Oklahoma State was 4-2. They were playing at 2-4 Kansas State. Kansas State, Alex Barnes had a breakout game. 34 carries, 181 yards and 4 touchdowns. Kansas State's now 3-4. Oklahoma State's 4-3 as Kansas State wins 31-12. Buffalo just clinched bowl eligibility. 6-1 start, best record for them since 1959. Tyree Jackson, 60-30, 212 yards, 1 touchdown. Akron was 2-2 going into their game. Buffalo is 5-1 now. Buffalo 6-1. Akron's 2-3. Buffalo beats Akron 24-6. Eastern, after weeks of close losses, Toledo missed a 2-point conversion late in the game. Eastern was 2-4. Toledo was 3-2. Eastern upsets Toledo 28-26. Duke was at Georgia Tech, I think. My bad. Duke was 4-1 at Georgia Tech. They were 3-3 going into their game. It was a brawl late at the half for this one. Duke won 28-14. Daniel Jones was 17-27, 206 yards and 3 touchdowns as Duke moves to 5-1. Georgia Tech's now 3-4. Louisville was 2-4 at 4-2 Boston College going into their game. Anthony Brown was 16-22, 170 yards and a touchdown. As Boston College won 38-20. They had a blocked punt for the 2nd straight week. They're now 5-2. Louisville's terrible this year. They're 2-5. UAB was 4-1 going into their 1-5 matchup with Rice. UAB shuts out Rice 42-0. UAB moves to 5-1. Rice is 1-6. AJ Early of UAB was 11-17, 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. Troy was 4-2 going to, I think, 2-3 Liberty. Or no, they were 5-1. Liberty was now 2-3. Liberty wins 22-16, an upset win against Troy in that matchup. Their quarterback, Stephen Calvert, was 17-32, 238 yards and 2 touchdowns in that matchup. Southern Miss was 2-2, going to 5-1 North Texas. North Texas won 30-7 over Southern Miss to move to 6-1. Southern Miss is now 2-3. DeAndre Torrey, running back, 17 carries, 95 yards, 3 touchdowns for North Texas. 1-5 Kent State was at 2-4 Miami of Ohio. MAC games coming up. Miami of Ohio won 31-6. Gus Ragland of Miami of Ohio was 16-20, 209 yards and 1 touchdown. As Miami moves to 3-4, Kent State's now 1-6. Western's now won 5 in a row. They're 4-2. They beat 1-5 Bowling Green. Levante Bellamy, 24 carries, 145 yards. Scott Miller, Bowling Green, at 8 receptions, 206 yards and 2 touchdowns, was a standout for Bowling Green. Western won 42-35. They were down by 2 touchdowns late until they came back and won. They were down 28-14 late in the game. Western now 5-2. Bowling Green's 1-6. I was at this one. Ball State was 2-4. Central was 1-5. Ball State came back. They're down 20-7. They had a late field goal won 24-23. As Riley Neal was 19-26, 183 yards and 1 touchdown. As Ball State won 24-23 over Central. Ball State's 3-4. Central is 1-6 now. Disappointingly for me. 3-2 Ohio is at maybe the best team in the MAC right now. 3-3 Northern Illinois. They're 4-0 in the MAC now. NIU had a late lead on 2-point conversion. Marcus Childers had 23 carries. 169 yards and 1 touchdown. As Northern Illinois moves to 4-3, 4-0 overall in the MAC. Ohio's 3-3 overall now. Temple was 3-3 going in their matchup at 2-3 Navy. Temple Anthony Russo was 23-31, 300 touchdowns, 300 yards and 1 touchdown. As Temple moves to 4-3, Navy's now 2-4. Western Kentucky was 1-4 at 2-3 Charlotte. Charlotte won 40-14. They're 3-3 now. Western Kentucky's 1-5. Benny LeMay had 17 carries, 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Charlotte's now 3-3 now. Marshall was 3-2 going at 1-5 Old Dominion. Old Dominion only beat a ranked Virginia Tech team, by the way. Marshall's Tyler King 22 carries, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. As Marshall moves to 4-2, Old Dominion's now 1-6. Marshall's now won 42-20 over Old Dominion. Navy's a big team. They like to run the ball. They're 3-2 going into their game. 0-5 San Jose State, one of the 3 winless teams remaining. Army's Kelvin Hopkins Jr. had 18 carries, 99 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Army scored by had 24-yard rushing touchdown. Army won 52-3. They're now 4-2 and 0-6 San Jose State. Purdue 2-3 at also 3-2 Illinois. They dominated. Purdue won 46-7 over Illinois. David Bro of Purdue 25-36, 377 yards and 3 touchdowns. As Purdue beat Illinois, they're both 3-3 now. New Mexico is 3-2 going into their game at 2-4 Colorado State. Colorado State won 20-18 over New Mexico to move to 3-4. New Mexico is now 3-3 as Bryan had a game-winning kick for Colorado State as time expires. KJ Carter-Samuels was 24-42, 311 yards and 1 touchdown in their matchup. 2-3 UNLV was at 4-1 Utah State. Jordan Love of Utah State was 17-23 for 322 yards and 5 touchdowns. Utah State's won 5 straight since barely beating Michigan State. They could be 6-0 if they wanted to. Utah State won 59-28. I don't know why they're an underrated group of 5 team. That'll be for a sec. Alabama State is 2-3. South Alabama is 2-4. South Alabama won 45-7. They had a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. And they're 2-5. Alabama State's 2-4. 2-4 New Mexico State was at 2-3 Louisiana. Louisiana won 66-38. Louisiana's now 3-3. New Mexico State's 2-5. Andre Nunez, ULL was 19-25, 315 yards and 5 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell of the same team was 12 carries, 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Ernest Patterson of Louisiana had 3 receptions and 114 yards and 1 touchdown. As they moved to 3-3, New Mexico State's now 2-5. UL Monroe, they're 2-4 going into their matchup at 3-2 Coastal Carolina. They won 45-20. Derek Gore of UL Monroe had 16 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marcus Green, the receiver, 5 receptions, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown. Houston was 4-1 at 2-3 East Carolina. Houston won 42-20. They were 5-1. East Carolina was 2-4. As Houston's Patrick Hart, 13 carries and 70 yards. Virginia Tech was 3-2 going into their matchup with 1-3 North Carolina. North Carolina got all the way down there. They were up late in the game, 19-14. They were about to get a touchdown. They fumble in the red zone. Virginia Tech goes all the way down the field. They win 22-19. As Ryan Willis was 20-36, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Virginia Tech's now 4-2, and North Carolina's 1-4. Louisiana Tech beat UTSA. They were 3-2 going into the matchup. UTSA was 3-3. They won 31-3. Louisiana Tech's Jamar Smith was 25-30. 309 yards, 1 touchdown as they moved to 4-2. UTSA's 3-4. 0-5 UCLA with Chip Kelly at 3-2 California. I don't know why California was ranked this early. UCLA finally got their first win. As Joshua Kelly had 30 carries, 157 yards, 3 touchdowns. Chip Kelly gets his first win before Scott Frost. UCLA is now 1-5. They won 37-7 over California as they got their first win over. I don't know why California was ranked against Arizona. They lost to a winless UCLA team. That's not very good. Ole Miss, they were 4-2. Arkansas was 1-5 going into their matchup. Ole Miss won 37-33. That Tamu guy of Ole Miss he was 26-35, 387 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tamu had 17 carries as well, rushing the ball. 141 yards, 1 touchdown. That adds up 387 to 141. Thinking for a second, 47, 507, 527. That's about 528 total yards for a quarterback rushing and passing. So Ole Miss is now 5-2. Arkansas is 1-6. I got 4 more matchups. I wanted to go over the standings really quick for the college football. I just go over the overall records, and then I go over the conference standings because we're in conference play. For you, those of you just joining us, Florida National was 3-2, playing 3-2 Middle Tennessee. Florida National won 24-21. A late interception helped them win the game. James Morgan of Florida National with 27-36, 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. As Florida National won 24-21 over Middle Tennessee. They're 4-2 now, 3-3. 3 more games left. Hawaii was 6-1 going into their game at 3-3 BYU. Matt Hadley of BYU was a standout here, 9 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown as BYU won 49-23. BYU is now 4-3. Hawaii is now 6-1. 6-2 now. My apologies. Wyoming was 2-4 going into their matchup at 4-1 Fresno State. Fresno State won 27-3. Their quarterback Marcus McMaryion, 22-32, 287 yards and 2 touchdowns as Fresno State moves to 5-1. Wyoming's now 2-5 overall. I have to see if I wrote down all the college scores for last week too, by the way. Wyoming's now 2-5, 0-3 overall in the Mountain West. They lost 27-3. And finally, our last game of the week, Boise State was 3-2 at 3-3 Nevada. Nevada was up early in the game at halftime. Boise State won 31-27. Ripon had 209 yards, 2 touchdowns for Boise State. Was the standout in that one. They're 4-2 now, and Nevada's now 3-4. I wanted to go over the conference standings overall. I look at overall records first and the matchups, and then I go over conference standings to look out for that. Just want to hit standings. 5:09 we got the Red Sox Astros, so I'm going to try to get done with this and try to watch a little bit of that and try to sleep a little bit. So first is the American Athletic Conference Eastern Conference. There's 2 teams are 3-0. Central Florida is 10th ranked, and Temple's as both 3-0 in their conference in the East. Cincinnati's 20th ranked. They're 2-0. South Florida's 20th ranked. They're also 2-0. And East Carolina and UConn are 0-3. In the American Athletic West, Houston's solely winning that division. They're 2-0. SMU and Tulane are 1-1 conference-wise. Navy's 1-2 conference-wise. Memphis is 1-3. And Tulsa's last at 0-3. The ACC Conference, the Atlantic, we have a big one with Clemson's NC State this week. They're both 316th ranked. Clemson's 3-0. NC State's 2-0. Boston College is 2-1 in their conference. Syracuse is 1-2. Florida State's 1-3. And Wake Forest is 0-2. And Louisville's 0-4 in the Atlantic. The Coastal, Virginia Tech's winning solely. They're 3-0. Virginia, Miami, and Pittsburgh all tied at 2-1 in their conference. Duke's 1-1. North Carolina's 1-2. And Georgia Tech's 1-3. The Big 12, there's no conferences that split up. It's just overall. It's the top 2 teams who make it to the end of the year to Dallas. Texas is 4-0, leading that division. West Virginia's 3-1. Oklahoma and Texas Tech are 2-1. Baylor and Iowa State are 2-2. TCU's 1-2. Kansas State and Oklahoma State are 1-3 each. And Kansas is 0-3 in the Big 12. The Big 10 Eastern Conference, now 2nd ranked Ohio State and 6th ranked Michigan. They're both 4-0, leading the East. Maryland's 2-1, 24th ranked MSU's 2-1, 18th ranked Penn State's 1-2, IU's 1-3, Rutgers is 0-4. In the West Division, look who's winning that division now for the Big Ten West. Northwestern is winning that division. If the Big Ten championship started today, it'd be Northwestern and Ohio State. Northwestern's 3-1 overall in the conference play. 23rd ranked Wisconsin's 2-1. Iowa's finally ranked. They're 2-1. Purdue's 2-1. Illinois is 1-2. 0-3 Minnesota and 0-4 Nebraska. We still haven't gotten into the matchups yet. We'll get into the matchups for next week. CUSA, the conference, the East. Florida Nationals 2-0. Middle Tennessee, Marshall, and Charlotte are all 2-1. Florida Atlantic's 1-1. Western Kentucky's 0-2. And Old Dominion's 0-4. In the West, congrats to UAB. They're back from their football shutdown a few years back. They're winning the West right now. They're 3-0. Louisiana Tech, North Texas, and UTSA are all 2-1 in conference. Southern Miss is 1-1. UTEP's 0-2, and Rice is 0-3. Independent, they don't keep track of conference record. Notre Dame's 7-0. Overall, Army's 4-2. BYU's 4-3. Liberty's 3-3. Mexico State and UMass are both 2 and 5. Ah, freaking canker sore. Sorry, I have a little bit of canker sore too. Ow. Yeah, I don't want to stretch my lip again. In the MAC East, Buffalo's win solely. They're 3-0. Miami of Ohio's 3-1. Ohio's 1-1. Akron's 0-2. Bowling Green's 0-2. And Kent State's 0-3. And it's Kent State and Bowling Green. In the West, solely, Northern Illinois 4-0. Western's 3-0. Ball State's 2-1. Toledo's 1-1. Eastern's 1-3. And Central's 0-3. Mountain West Conference, there's a Mountain Division. Utah State's 2-0. Boise State's 2-1. Colorado State's 2-1. New Mexico's 1-1. Air Force is 0-3. Wyoming is also 0-3. In the West Division, Hawaii's 3-0. Fresno State's 2-0. San Diego State's 2-0. Nevada's 1-2. UNLV's 0-2. San Jose State's 0-2. And the Pac-12 is interesting too. All in the North, 15th ranked Washington is 3-1 overall in conference. Stanford's now unranked, they're 2-1, but 12th ranked Oregon 2-1. 25th ranked Washington State 2-1. Congrats Washington State, they're ranked. That's where game day is going to be. California and Oregon State are 0-3 in the Pac-12 North. And in the Pac-12 South, USC's 3-1. Colorado's 2-1. Utah's 2-2. Arizona's 2-2. Arizona State and UCLA are both 1-2 in conference. In the SEC East, 11th ranked Florida and 8th ranked Georgia in the East are both 4-1. Kentucky's 14th ranked, they're 3-1. South Carolina's 2-3. Tennessee's 1-2. Missouri and Vanderbilt are both 0-3. In the West, Bama's winning at number 1 overall, they're 4-1, 4-0. A&M's 3-1, so is LSU, they're 17th and 5th ranked respectively. Ole Miss, Mississippi State are 1-2 each. Mississippi State's 22nd ranked. Auburn's 1-3 and Arkansas is 0-4. Finally, the Sun Belt, the East Conference, Georgia Southern's Troy are tied at 3-0. Appalachian State's 2-0. Georgia State's 1-1. Coastal Carolina's 1-2. In the West, Louisiana Raging Cajuns and UM are leading at 1-1. UL Monroe's 1-2. South Alabama's 1-2. Arkansas State's 0-2, and Texas State is 0-3. So for next week's matchups, we still haven't gotten into the matchups yet. Going into the scores, and I want all FBS. So it starts off on Thursday with Georgia State's 2-4, 3-3 Arkansas State on ESPNU. I like Arkansas State to win that matchup. 9 o'clock, 4-2 Stanford's at 3-3 Arizona State at 9 o'clock on ESPN. I like Stanford in this matchup, close one. They'll pull away late. Friday's matchups, 3-4 Colorado State's at 4-2 Boise State on ESPN2. I like Boise State in that matchup. Air Force is 2-4 at 2-4 UNLV. I like Air Force in this matchup big. So we start with the 12 o'clock matchups. Big one here. 6-1 Michigan is at 4-2 24th ranked Michigan State. Look out, Michigan. Look out. East Lansing's a tough place to play. I like MSU in the upset. I think they're going to beat Michigan. Michigan's had a tough time against Michigan State matchup-wise. I actually like MSU in the upset. I feel like there's going to be a few upsets this week. 5-1 Oklahoma is at 3-3 TCU on ABC. I like Oklahoma in a close matchup, and they'll pull away late with Kyler Murray. I like Oklahoma in that matchup. That's at noon on ABC. Noon on ESPN2. I've never seen Maryland and Iowa play before. 4-2 Maryland's at 5-1 Iowa. At 19th ranked Iowa. I love Iowa in this matchup. Nate Stanley's a great quarterback. Finally, Cincinnati's ranked 2. At noon on ESPNU, 6-0 Cincinnati's at 4-3 Temple. I think this is a close matchup. I like Cincinnati in that one. At noon on ESFS1, 3-3 Illinois is at 4-2 23rd ranked Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin big with Jonathan Taylor having a big game. He's 50 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing. Big matchup here. 6-1 Buffalo's at 3-3 Toledo. I like Buffalo on the upset. Big road win. I hope they beat Toledo. That's going to be a good win for them. I think Buffalo beats Toledo. At noon on SEC Network, 1-5 Tulsa's at 1-6 Arkansas. I like Arkansas in that matchup. At noon on ESPN, 4-3 Auburn's at 5-2 Ole Miss. I don't like Auburn's offense at all. I like Ole Miss to get a bowl berth. I think Ole Miss beats Auburn. Also in a game I never normally see at noon for the Big Ten. 3-3 Northwestern's at 1-6 Rutgers. I like Northwestern big. I hate Rutgers this year. They don't look good at all. At noon on CBS Sports Network, 3-4 Miami of Ohio is at 4-2 Army. I like Army in that matchup. I think they run the football a lot. I like them. 12-20, 1-4 North Carolina is at 4-2 Syracuse. I like Syracuse big in that matchup. 12-30 on ACC Network, 4-2 Virginia's at 5-1 Duke. I like Duke in a close game in that one. It's at Duke. They'll get a bowl berth. 2 o'clock, Idaho State, 4-2 at 3-3 Liberty. I like Idaho State. Excuse me, pardon me. Also at 2 o'clock, 1-6 Bowling Greens at 3-3 Ohio. I like Ohio in that matchup. 2:30, 5-1 Utah State's at 2-5 Wyoming. I like Utah State in that matchup. Florida Atlantic's 3-3 at 4-2 Marshall. I like Florida Atlantic in a close one by field goal. They're favored. I think they'll win that one. 3 o'clock. Charlotte's at Middle Tennessee, 3-3. I like Middle Tennessee in a big blowout. No spread for Western Central. I'm surprised yet. Eastern is at Ball State. They're both 3-4. I like Eastern after they beat Toledo last week. I think this one's gonna be close. I like Eastern. I'll be at this one. 5-2 Westerns at 1-6 Central. I think Westerns can dominate Central in this one. Central hasn't played well at all. Western's been playing great. It'd be a weird upset game. I think it might be close, and then the Western pulls way late. I like Western Michigan to beat Central. I'm surprised by that stat. 3:30 on CBS. Look out, Bama possibly. Tennessee coming off a big win with Auburn, but they're going to struggle. It's a 29.5 spread. I like Bama. They're one first rank. I like them to dominate Tennessee though. 7-0 at 3-3. I like Bama. Look out, Clemson though on ESPN. Also, that's a game that's on CBS. 3:30 on ESPN. 16th ranked NC State's 5-0 at third ranked 6-0 Clemson. NC State's been playing Clemson close the last years. The last time NC State was here, they almost beat Clemson. I think Clemson wins a close game. They're off a bye week. I think NC State gives them a scare, but I think Clemson beats NC State. That's a tough place to win at Clemson, but it's going to be a close one. At 3:30, 5-1 Colorado's at 15th ranked Washington. I wouldn't sleep on Colorado if I were Washington. I like Washington in a bounce back win, though, a close one, then they pull away late. That's on Fox. On 3:30 on ABC, 18th ranked Penn State's 4-2 at 4-3 IU. I don't think James Franklin's going to reach 3 in a row. I think Penn State beats IU in a big win for them. They need this win badly. It's going to be a close game, then they'll pull away late. 3:30 also. Coastal Carolina's at UMass. Coastal Carolina is 3-3. UMass is 2-5. I like Coastal Carolina in a close one. 3:30 on CBS Sports Network. Houston's 5-1 at 2-4 Navy. I like Houston big in that matchup. On ESPNU, 2-4 SMU's at 2-4 Tulane. I like Tulane in a close one. 3:30 2-3 Akron's at 1-6 at Kent State. I like Akron to beat Kent State in that matchup. Louisiana's 3-3 at 4-1 Appalachian State. I like Appalachian State big. 3:30 0-6 UTEP is at 4-2 Louisiana Tech. I like Louisiana Tech in that matchup. On ESPN2, both 3-3 teams. Wake Forest at Florida State. I like Florida State big in that matchup. They need this win bad. 3:30 on Big Ten Network. 3-3 Minnesota's at 0-6 Nebraska. I do think Nebraska's going to get their first win this week. PJ Fleck, Scott Frost, two coaches that made the Group of 5 berth last year are now Big Ten coaches. I like Nebraska in that matchup in a close one. 3:30 on FS1. Kansas is 2-4 at 4-2 Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech in this matchup big over Kansas. 4 o'clock on SEC Network. 4-3 Memphis at 3-3 Missouri. I like Missouri in a close one against Memphis. I don't know why Missouri's playing Memphis this late. 4 o'clock on Pac-12 Network. 3-3 California's at 1-5 Oregon State. I like California big in that matchup. Also at 4 o'clock, Georgia Southern's 5-1 at 2-5 New Mexico State. I like Georgia Southern big. Another good ranked matchup, 7 o'clock on ESPN. 4-2 Mississippi State is at 6-1 LSU. LSU plays well against ranked teams at home. I like LSU big against Mississippi State. I don't like Mississippi State's offense. 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Central Florida 6-0 at 2-4 East Carolina. I like Central Florida big in that matchup. 7 o'clock, UConn's 1-5 at 6-0 South Florida, 21st ranked. I like South Florida big in that matchup. Also at 7 o'clock. That game's on CBS Sports Network. UTSA's 3-4 at Southern Miss. They're 2-3. I like Southern Miss to beat UTSA in that matchup big. Also at 7 o'clock, Texas State's 1-5 at 3-4 UL Monroe. I like UL Monroe in that matchup. This game's a good one I'm looking at though. 7:30 Saturday night under the lights. 7-0 Ohio State, second ranked at 3-3 Purdue. I say this one's interesting. Ohio State's a 13.5 favorite only. Purdue, Ohio State's had some trouble there in the past, so I'm looking out for this as a possible upset matchup. But I think Ohio State wins a close game with Purdue. I wouldn't sleep on Purdue at all. This game is playing at 7:30 for a reason. This is the game Game Day is going to be at. 5-1 Oregon, 12th ranked is at 5-1 Washington State. Look out for Washington State. I said Oregon might be the favorite. Pac-12 is wide open. I think Washington State upsets Oregon in this matchup. Big win for them. Pac-12 is wide open. I like Washington State in this matchup. Close game. 7:30. 3-4 Vanderbilt's at 5-1 Kentucky. I like Kentucky to win that one. I like Snell to have a big game. They're coming off a bye. 7:30 Fresno State's 5-1 at 3-3 New Mexico. I like Fresno State big in that matchup. 7:30 Rice is 1-6 at Florida National at 4-2. I like Florida National in that matchup. 7:30 6-1 North Texas at 5-1 UAB. Good game though. I like North Texas in a close one. This could be a possible CUSA champion, CUSA big game for the conference. I think for the whole conference. Old Dominion's 1-6 at 1-5 Western Kentucky. I like Old Dominion. They got to get a win somehow to prove that they are the only team to beat Virginia Tech. That's their only win this year. They got to get another win to back it up. 8 o'clock and 4 more games on Pac-12 Network. No big 8 o'clock ones. USC's 4-2 at 4-2 Utah. I like that one. I think Utah's going to win it by a field goal against USC. Winner might go into the rankings. Kevin Sumlin at Chip Kelly debut was not the best year for either coaches. 3-4 at 1-5. I like UCLA win back-to-back games. Surprisingly, that game's on ESPN2. 10:30 on CBS Sports Network. 0-6 San Jose State's at 5-1 San Diego State. I don't know why San Diego State's not ranked yet. I like San Diego State in that matchup. 11:59 3-4 Nevada's at 6-2 Hawaii. And I like Hawaii. We just went over college football and NFL for those that just joined us. I was going to go over the NBA schedule this week because there's Philly. I said Philly's at Boston tonight. And Oklahoma City's at Golden State, my early predictions. I like Boston. I like Golden State. The matchups for tomorrow, the Bucks are at Milwaukee's at Charlotte. The Nets are at the Pistons. The Grizzlies are at the Pacers. And the Heat are at the Magic. Those are all 7 o'clock games. The Atlanta Hawks are at the Knicks, 7:30. Cavaliers are without LeBron James at the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard debuts, 7:30. New Orleans is at Houston. Carmelo Anthony debuts with the Rockets. He's come off the bench. Minnesota's at San Antonio. Kawhi Leonard's gone and a bunch of players are gone for the Spurs. That's at 8:30. Also 8 o'clock at the Raptors game. Cleveland's at Toronto, like I said, 7:30. Atlanta's at New York, 7:30. Utah's at Sacramento at 10. Dallas is at Phoenix at 10:30. They just fired their GM. Dirk Nowitzki might be his last season. He's coming off the bench. Denver's at LA. That's at 10:30. Thursday matchups. Chicago's at Philadelphia at 8. Miami's at Washington at 8. And LeBron James makes his debut, I think, with the Lakers at 10:30 at Portland on TNT. So look out for that. And Lance Stevenson as well. Friday matchups. Charlotte's at Orlando. New York's at Brooklyn. Boston's at Toronto. Atlanta's at Memphis. Cleveland's at Minnesota. Sacramento's at New Orleans. Indiana's at Milwaukee. Golden State is at Utah. And Oklahoma City's at LA. And to end off the weekend cap, actually, this is the Saturday matchups. Toronto's at Washington at 7. Brooklyn's at Indiana at 7. Boston's at New York at 7:30. Orlando's at Philadelphia at 7:30. Charlotte's at Miami at 8. Detroit's at Chicago at 8. Minnesota's at Dallas at 8:30. Phoenix is at Denver at 9. San Antonio's at Portland at 10. Houston is at LA at 10:30. That's a good game for Saturday night. Is that on Saturday night? Yeah, that's a Saturday night game on ESPN. That's live. And on Sunday, Atlanta's at Cleveland. Sacramento's at Oklahoma City. Golden State's at Denver. Houston's at LA. In the Monday matchups before I do my podcast next week, Orlando's at Boston at 7:30. Charlotte's at Toronto at 7:30. New York's at Milwaukee at 8. Indiana's at Minnesota at 8. Chicago's at Dallas at 8:30. Memphis is at Utah at 9. Washington's at Portland at 10. Phoenix at Golden State at 10:30. And San Antonio's at the Lakers at 10:30. My NBA Finals prediction before I go away from this, I think it's going to be the Celtics and the Warriors. I don't think LeBron's going to make it this year. They can't get past the Warriors. They got a better lineup. They got Cousins and Draymond and Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Boston's got Gordon Hayward back, Kyrie Irving, Marcus Smart. I like the Celtics and Warriors. That's my early NBA Finals prediction for this season. I think Cleveland's going to be terrible this year. We'll go into more of the standings coming up next week. NHL standings, wanted to get into that. And the matchups tonight. In the Atlantic Conference, the Maple Leafs are winning at 6-1. Bruins are 4-1. Canadians are 3-1. Senators are 3-2. So are the Sabres. Lightning are 2-1. The Red Wings are 0-4, and the Panthers are 0-2. The Metropolitan In the Eastern Conference, the Hurricanes are 4-1. The Devils are 3-0. Blue Jackets are 3-2. Penguins are 2-1. Capitals are 2-2. Islanders are 2-2. Flyers are 2-3. Rangers are 1-4. In the Western Conference Central, the Predators are 1-5. 5-1. My bad. They lead that division. Blackhawks are 3-0. Avalanche are 3-1. Stars are 3-2. Jets are 3-2. Blues are 1-2. Wild are 1-2. And in the Pacific, we got the Ducks at 4-1. The Flames at 3-2. Canucks at 3-2. Sharks and Kings are both 2-3. The Knights are 2-4. Oilers are 1-2, and the Coyotes are 1-3. And tonight's matchups for the NHL, 7 o'clock. Dallas is at New Jersey at 7. Colorado's at the Rangers at 7. New York. Florida's at Philadelphia at 7. Vancouver's at Pittsburgh at 7. 7:30. Carolina's at Tampa Bay. Arizona is at Minnesota on NBC Sports Network at 8. Edmonton's at Winnipeg at 8. And 10 o'clock is Buffalo at Vegas. The NASCAR race for this week, we're one race away from the playoff eliminator race. I think it's at Kansas this week. This week they ran at Talladega. Congrats to Aric Almirola on getting his first win. Actually, it's his second career win, but his first in 4 years. He had a big crash in a Kansas race last year. They left him a concussion and out for a few races. Almost killed him, but he came back and he won a race. He's in the top 8. I really hope he gets to the Final Four. That's a big comeback story for Aric Almirola. But anyways, he won the Talladega race. He's in the top 8 along with Chase Elliott for the next race for Kansas. Aric Almirola won the race. He led the last lap only. Clint Bowyer finished 2nd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished 3rd. Denny Hamlin finished 4th. Joey Logano finished 5th. A.J. Allmendinger finished 6th. Jimmy Johnson finished 7th. Eric Jones finished 8th. Paul Menard finished 9th. Regan Smith finished 10th. Kurt Busch was in it. Led 108 laps. He finished 14th. Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick ran it as well. They ran out of gas. They finished 27th, 28th. Kyle Busch struggled too. He finished 26th. And Truex. Truex struggled as well. He finished 23rd. And, that's the Talladega race. I wanted to go over the standings really quick. This week they're at Kansas. My predictions for that one. I think Clint Bowyer is going to win the Kansas race, get into the top 8. He's never won at Kansas. He's from there. Oh, whoops. I'm trying to go to the standings real quick. Also, we got to go to the MLB standings real quick before I get going. There's a 5:09 game between the Red Sox and the Astros. I want to go over the standings real quick. If I can get there. For the NASCAR. Aric Almirola and Chase Elliott, 1 win and 2 wins each, respectively, for them. They are in the top 8. Harvick's 3rd and Kyle Busch is 4th. They got 7 wins each. 5th and 6th, Joey Logano and Kurt Busch. They got 1 win each. 7th and 8th, Clint Bowyer, 2 wins, and Martin Truex Jr. is, nope, I don't want that. Truex is 4 wins. He's in 8th place. And the guys that are right outside the cut line, Brad Keselowski's 9th. He has 3 wins. Ryan Blaney has 1 win. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman are 11th and 12th. They have no wins. I wanted to go over the MLB playoff. Not a lot of big games this week. Just a quick rundown if I can, so that might be my longest show schedule. As right now, the Red Sox and Astros, they're playing at Game 3 at 5:09. That's why I might get it done and get some sleep early. Brewers won the game last night. They're 2-1. Yeah, they lead the series 2-1. They play at 9:09 tonight. I wish it wasn't so late. I have to go to work, so I might not get a chance to watch the end of Game 4 tonight. Wanted to go back to where I started for the ALDS. Red Sox won Game 4 to play the Astros. They won 4-3. As Porcello got the win, Sabathia got the loss, and Kimbrel barely got the save, and they won. They got a second save. It all started in the top third. Martinez had a sac fly to center as they were up 1-0. Also in the top third, Kinsler had an RBI double. It was 2-0 in the top of the third. Nunez had an RBI single to the left, and the third also was 3-0. In the fourth, Vasquez had a solo shot. It was 4-0 in the fourth. In the fifth, Brett Gardner had a sac fly. It was 4-1. Walker got hit by a pitch. It was an RBI walk. It was 4-2 in the bottom of the ninth for the Yankees. Bottom of the fifth when they were down 4-1, by the way. And Gary Sanchez had a sac fly, and Goria scored. It was 4-3, and the Red Sox won the game. They won 3-1. They eliminate the Yankees from postseason play. And the championship series started on Friday night with the... I'm looking for it. Yep. There we go. It all started with the Brewers and Dodgers Game 1. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. As the Brewers won 6-5 Game 1 over the... Why is it popping up? I'm trying to go back. They all started on Friday night, game one, as the Brewers won 6-5. Woodruff got the win. I think he got a homer in that game too. And Kershaw got the loss, and Knebel got the save. The Brewers bullpen's really legit, I think. If I look at a box score, yes, or run how the runs scored. Oh, losing my breath. I'm having some allergy issues today. They'll start in the top of the second for game one. Manny Machado had a homer to center. Dodgers were up 1-0. Bottom of the third, the pitcher Woodruff had a homer. It was 1-1. Perez had an RBI sac fly in the bottom of the third. It was 2-1 Brewers. Bottom of the fourth, Santana had a single to left center. It was 4-1. And then Braun had a single to right. It was a 2-run single by Santana. Braun had a single to right. It was 5-1 in the bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the seventh, it was 6-1. Aguilar hit a homer. Machado had an RBI single to the center and 2 runs scored. It was 6-3 in the top of the eighth. 6-4 when Kemp hit a single to left center. As the Dodgers were down 6-4 in the top of the ninth, Taylor had a triple to right. And the Dodgers just came down 6-5. Almost beat the Brewers in game one. The Brewers were up 1-0. Yeah, I want to get back to game two. The next game was game two. Oh, whoops, I don't want that. I want the Saturday matchups. It was Saturday, game two. The Dodgers won 4-3 with Baez getting the win for the Dodgers, Jeffries getting the loss for the Brewers, ending a 12-game winning streak, and Jansen for the Dodgers getting the save for them. It all started in the top of the fifth or bottom of the fifth when Arcara hit a homer to center, and the Brewers were up 1-0. Braun had a ground out to shortstop, and RBI. Yes, there was RBIs to round out. It was 2-0 Brewers. And Travis Shaw hit a homer to center for the Brewers. They were up in 3-0 in the bottom of the sixth. How did the Dodgers come back? Top of the seventh, Bellinger had a single to center. RBI single to center. It was 3-1. Then Barnes walked. It was bases loaded. Dodgers were up down 3-2 top of the seventh. Then Justin Turner was clutch. He had a 2-run homer in the top of the eighth to give the Dodgers the lead, 4-3, and they tied the series with the Brewers. Later that Saturday night, it was Justin Verlander versus Chris Sale. Sale has an illness right now. He might be back with the team. And the Astros won 7-2. Verlander got the win. Joe Kelly got the loss. And we'll show you how that happened for game one. Top of the second, George Springer had a single to left center. It was 2-0. 2 runs scored in the top of the second. Bottom of the fifth, Moreland walked. It was an RBI walk. It was 2-1. And also in the bottom of the fifth, Bradley Jr. scored. It was a wild pitch thrown by Verlander. It was 2-2 in the bottom of the fifth. Top of the sixth, Correa had an RBI single to center. It was 3-2 in the top of the ninth. Astros went off, scored 4 runs. Reddick hit a homer to center, right center. It was 4-2 Astros. Then Gurriel hit a homer, 3-run homer to right, and the Astros sealed game one. They won 7-2 over the Red Sox. They were up 1-0 in the series. And we'll go to the Sunday matchups. The only Sunday matchup, the Red Sox won 7-5. That was an early 7 o'clock start because the Patriots also played Sunday night. What happened was who got the win, by the way? Barnes got the win, Cole got the loss, and Kimbrel got his first save of the ALCS. Bottom of the first minute, Teddy had an RBI single to right center. Red Sox were up 1-0. Devers had a single to left. RBI single to left. It was 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Springer had an RBI double in the top of the second. 2 runs scored, 2-run double. It was 2-2. Top of the third, Gonzalez hit a 2-run homer. It was 4-2. Asher was in the top of the third. Bottom of the third, Jackie Bradley Jr. hit a deep left single. Actually, yeah, he had a double, and it was 3 runs scored. It was 5-4 Red Sox in the bottom of the third. Then the seventh, Betts had a wild pitch ball or pass ball. It was 6-4 Red Sox. Bottom of the eighth, it was 7-4. Betts had a double to right center. It was RBI double. And the top of the fifth, Altuve had a single to left. It was 7-5. We'll get back to game three. They're playing at 5:09 soon. So we'll get the rest of the series next week. And finally, the last baseball game. And tonight they play two. Brewers and Dodgers at late 9:09. I'm not going to get a chance to watch it, so somebody better text me the score and the results. Brewers won 4-0. Couchman got the win, and Wade Buehler got the loss. Gamecast. Trying to get the box scores. 4-0 Brewers are up 2-0. Braun had a double to left center. It was 1-0 in the top of the first. It was scoreless for a while. 1-0 until the sixth inning, until Shaw had scored on a Buehler wild pitch. It was 2-0. And then Arcari in the seventh had a 4-0 lead for a 2-run homer. And the Brewers are now up 2-1. The probables for tonight, or for today, for both teams. Red Sox, Astros. I think they're starting soon. Keibel's pitching, and they're starting soon for the Astros. And at the end of the night, Gio Gonzalez and Rich Hill pitch at 9:09 for the Brewers and the Dodgers for Game 4. It's Game 3 right now, so I'm going to get going. I appreciate you guys tuning in a little bit. You could listen to it. We're going to do a 7 o'clock one. Depends on the time of the games next week. I'll look into it for next week. Depends on when the World Series starts. I might do it a little bit earlier, maybe 6 o'clock. I'll let you guys know. But you guys have a great day.